let me describe what we've got on the screen. On the left-hand side, we're running Modern Suite, which is pointed at my store one here right now. And then on the right, we've got the Modern Suite interface for Central. So we're not going to spend too much time here, but because most of you guys know the functionality is in mostly in the actual client side. Log in here, type my password. So one of the things, of course, that the new pieces that was requested was that we do localization. So it's as easy as just clicking this box to switch into Spanish. And then the interface works in Spanish. We do have full cashier management like we talked about. That happens up in Central. So if I drill in, I can see Francis, see her registered properties. I can see the roles and permissions that she's allowed, over short limit, things like that. So our guys have found that to be super helpful in managing the cashiers across the Central environment. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the store manager, retail management store hero on this side. And then we'll do some work over here. So like I said, we've got import export capabilities. It's real simple. You just pop in here and you go to the import screen. You choose which type of records you want to import. We've got template XLSs for all these. So they're already done and they have a full-blown examples and sample data. So you know exactly like what a template could look like. And then I think in the next build, pretty soon, we're going to have a little link below each one of these boxes where you can just click it right there and download that XLS for the one that you need. But they do come in the installer, so they're placed in the file system when you do the install, and you can pick those templates to see, exactly how to format those files in a way that they're going to import right. And that's a pretty transparent. You just click it, choose the file, and it imports items. So there's not a lot to show there. On the other hand, the PO piece is something we're really excited about. And again, this goes back to trying to make sure that those folks that are really working in the back office or at a desk, we can help them through their process. So one of the things I can do here is I'm just going to start a new list. I'll call this top PO. And then I'll scan a couple items into it. And one of those. Oh, that's another thing we added. I don't know if y'all were able to hear that over my microphone, but one of the requests was we got to get us a scan success sound. So the scanner beeps, and when it's a successful scan, it finds the item, it beeps again, and you can turn that off and on. But it's just to make sure people can not have to look up at the screen as much. They can keep going just based on the sound. So I just got a couple of interesting, items here. At any point, anywhere in the product, you can drill into an item. Okay, so here's all the information about this item. Purchasing tab, these are sales histories, the last purchase orders for them, the pricing model, margins. You can set sale prices and dates, whether it has bin locations, various options, whether it's active or not, who your default supplier is, costing, so on and so forth, what their reorder numbers are, your aliases, you can add and edit there, and then of course lots, if you have a lotted item. And if you want to edit any of these things, it's really simple. You just click the pencil, and now we can come in and edit things. So if I want to change my barcode type, or choose a different department or category, or change my taxing model, or my default supplier, my costs, etc., sale pricing, then I can just edit that right there, and then it's saved, and it's saved across the enterprise. You can also check other store quantities, so it's a global lookup. This is not a very exciting install because there's just one store in a warehouse, so we see the feedback against just the warehouse here. But if you had 30 stores here, you'd see all 30 of them lined up and what their quantity on hand. according to Central is. And we also added some other informational stuff up here, like just base quantity on hand, so people can see that. Sometimes it pops up like this, or where the bin locations are, so that it's just super quick and easy to find. But you can do that at any point. You can just click on an item like that, or you can use the lookup and drill into those items and globally manage them. But what I'm going to do with these two items, I want to create a PO, okay? So I'm just going to go to my menu, create a PO. I'll choose primary supplier. And then here we get, these items have been moved to a PO. And it shows quite a bit of information, all the things you'd expect: cost, part number, reorder number. It shows what the current price is. It shows the available quantity, and it shows what the sales are for the recent period. But more importantly, it shows the suggested buy right here. And what it's trying to tell me is that it thinks I ought to order 4 of these. And if I click into this little dot, dot, dot over here, this is going to tell me why it came to that conclusion. Okay. And I've got one down here for wrap as well. So as an example, I have 2 time periods defined here. I have a 7-day time period, and I got a 30-day time period, okay? And these are configurable. So that could be 30 and 150, or whatever you want to look at, so that it helps with seasonality and things like that. And then what that does is it says, okay, for 2021, the last 30 days, you sold 11. For 2021, the next 30 days, you sold 9. And then in the last 30 days this year, you sold 88. So your trajectory is going up. So that's why it's coming up and telling you, it's suggesting that for 30-day stock, you buy 72 of these, okay? And then the same is true of this 7-day period. We went from 2 to 4, and now we're at 7. So this essentially doubled. So it's calculating out that it's going to double this quantity 7 to 14 is what the suggestion is. And we found as people start to trust this, that it saves tons of time, because they don't have to go run reports. All the information is right available here, like what the sales are, costing, available quantities. They need more information or even KPIs. They just click in, and you can drill into the individual information, see here's all the dollars and profits on the things. And again, we've got store quantity checks and things like that. So it just becomes really fast. And then if you want to trust it, you can just say, okay, this buys my suggested 30. It changes all the quantities to match the suggested. And then you go ahead and you can release the PO. Now what has happened is it moved us into a PO receive mode. But let's go ahead and say, look, this is the PO we created, desktop PO-1. Let's go over to our purchase orders and see, do a refresh here. And then here you see that PO is inside of RMH. Okay, it's been released. It's got all the information that you would expect if you had done it within RMH. And what I can do here is say, I ordered 3. What if I get 5? It changes it to this color because I've got over. But if I say I get 3, it changes to green. Or if I claim that I'm receiving less, it goes to red. So it gives you some visual indication about if you're hitting your numbers or not. You can also just do a quick receive all, or receive. You can also reject or view the entire list. There's a lot of options now in terms of being able to see all of the items. So if you had a 1,000-item PO, then you could actually view the entire list if you want to roll through those. I'm just going to do a quick receive all. I've got it set up to ask me whether I want to update my supplier cost. So it will do that automatically based on the receiving of this PO, or it'll leave it alone if I don't want that to happen. I'll go ahead and let that do that. And then here it's prompting if I want to print some labels, and I can say yes, I do. And I'll just say I don't want like 100 labels, so I'll say I want 5 labels of each. And then I can use my printer defaults, or I can have it ask me which of these labels I want to use. So let's turn the defaults off, because if I just click go now, it'll spit them out and it'll skip this next set of steps. But I want to show the options here. So now I can click here, Now here's the list of options in terms of label formats we've already got built in. And then this one is marked as a default, okay? And then we can select printers, because you can have multiple printers, and then you can print to any of them, since they're all IP based. They're not tied to a device. So if you've got multiple places in a warehouse, or that you want to have a printer but you don't want to buy one for all machines, you can go ahead and do that and share those printers very easily. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to print. And then hopefully you can hear that. That's my label printer here. It just spit out whatever number of tags, 10 tags right there. So that is like the PO process. Didn't have it asked to do the export on the PO, or the export on the PO. There's a way to email it and the file, and there's also a way to import a return file like I talked about. That can be massive, just massive in terms of time savings. And I know that a lot of these distributors, like the pet food guys and a lot of the sportswear folks, tool shops, those guys have the ability to sort of send a return file, and that can save you tons of time in checking in a PO to be received. Easy way to pick up an hour in a day. And then also, now that you received that PO, I'll go ahead and refresh here, and now you notice it's not in my open POs. If I go over to history and do a refresh, now you notice it shows in RMH that it's completed. So again, it provides a pretty complete audit trail to be able to follow what happened and report against it just like you do in RMH directly. We looked into drilling into items real quick. Let's see what we got here. So we do have this magnifying glass, which is designed to be like an easy price checker, or the same thing. I can just click there, choose an item, and then boom, here I go. I got a bunch of information on it. It's in bin Kerbany of pricing. And then this information gets filtered based on your permission level. So not everybody can see costs and things like that. So one of the other things that's cool about all this is that we did create the smart audit capabilities. So let me just start a list here. I'm going to call it audit. Spell that wrong. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click this mouse trap, and it's going to tell me I just want one. That's the other thing. If I want to, I can turn on quick scan mode. Instead of having it prompt me for a quantity every time, I can just scan it in increments. So you notice now I've got 3, 4. I'll grab another item, it'll just add 1. Another item, add 1. Okay. So this is just a generic list. But let's say we have a wild use case where we know one of our users is just random, and they seem to want to type in 999. So that's one of the fictitious use cases I came up with. If somebody enters, that quantity, it changes the line item to yellow. Says, hey, you better check that out. Okay. One of the other criteria we have here for this demo is if we enter over 50% more than they have on hand, past 10, then it'll flag it. So let's look at this Venom item. It's got 1 on hand. So if I put in, so if I put in as an example 20, oops, if I put in 20, it's going to flag that line item as well, okay? And that can be done for pretty much any logic that you can come up with. Like if you wanted it to flag it, if the system read it was below 0, or, one of the other things that we protect from where it doesn't even allow you to flag it is, like as an example, if I scan a UPC, you'll notice it says that's not real. You can't, there's no way we have, 10 bajillion of these in stock. So it stops the user from making that mistake, which is remarkably enough a fairly common mistake. And then from this list, we can do anything we want. We can create an inventory count. That's going to take us into our over-under summary. So it shows what we've got here. We're over by a lot of stuff. Our percentages are crazy high. and over by a lot of dollars. If I want to see the whole list now, I have an option for that, or I can just cycle commit. But before we do that, let's go back and look at this item here. So we've got our classic mouse strip trap there, and I have how many? We got 5 of those in here on this count. There's 1 on hand at RMH. So I'll go ahead and review, and then cycle commit. And then now that's committed. And when I come up here and refresh, the quantity on hand has changed. Okay. So it's all real time. Okay, we do have some questions about scoping here, and I'm going to show some of that here. So if I want to scope out a count as an example, I can start as a blank list, scope count. And then what I do is I say, instead of scanning into this blank list, I just say I want to go make it an inventory count. Now it gives us options for scoping. So if I want to pick a particular supplier, like go Hasbro, it found 958 items that we buy from Hasbro. Let's add another scope. Go department code range. Also go department. So this is another feature. So some people work on code ranges. Some of them work on departments directly. I'm going to go department. Go to TO9 games. Now we're down to 130 products. If I want to add another one, like if I want to go category, then I'll go board games. Now we're down to 21 items from this supplier. If I want to just go ahead and set the scope, then now I have a count for those 21 items. That's the same opportunity you have inside of POs as well. You can also print a bunch of labels for this right here. So we've made label printing available in all the modules, as well as we have like a scan to print. So if you were put a bunch of items on sale, yeah, let's just do that. Let's take a look at that opportunity. So we can go here, go into label printing, label. We can add a scope. So one of the things is recently changed. Most of you all are familiar with this. So if you had just gone in and put a department of items on sale, as an example, or you'd done an import of a updated supplier file where it changed all the costs or the prices, and you wanted to reissue shelf tags for just those items, then you could go in and say, recently changed, price, cost, sale price, description, and then past day, past week, past month. I don't know what we'll get here. Let's see what we get. Apparently we don't have any of those. Oh, I missed my selection. Okay, so past month we had 1 product price change. Same is true for 1 week. So then that'll isolate it down to those, and it'll just print tags for the items that fall into that criteria. So we've got scoping in label printing, transfers, POs, inventory counts, everywhere now. All right, that is about what I had for the software demo here, folks.
If you have any questions or comments, reach out to us. We are definitely open to questions and input via our email, or give us a call. You can try any of our software by going to our website downloads page. Thank you for your time today. Look forward to connecting with you in the future. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.